what is up? I am outside the float tank place waiting for my float. I just wanted to document what I wanted to set as my intention for this, right? So this whole period of my life right now has been largely focusing on reconnecting with all of my original philosophy and some of the healthier perspectives that I've kind of lost touch with over the last several years as I was like involved in 12-step work and that whole lifestyle and all of that stuff. And now as I'm transitioning like a couple months away from it, and learning to slow down again and learning to listen to myself more and all of this. And I had talked about on my podcast a couple years ago about doing this alchemical wedding and needing to go through this whole process of unifying myself. But I had neglected myself, I guess, and a lot of the things that I'm bringing back up now are things that I had relegated to my shadow that became somewhat, what's the word I'm looking for, like caustic or toxic or ungood, right? So the intention that I have is integrating those aspects of my personality and then seeing what comes forward after, right? Like I'm going to spend the whole hour in the deprivation tank focusing on that and trying to let my consciousness flow towards that and see what comes up. And then I'll probably go get something to eat and then do a randonauts journey. But we'll try to keep track of some of this stuff, right? So I'll talk to you after the float. Okay, so I just got done with the float. I definitely think I was successful with a lot of the integration. That was the most intense float experience I've had. Granted, that was my third one, but it was definitely different than a lot of the other ones. There was a lot more stillness, a lot more internal reflection, and then also a lot of just letting the mind go, right? And I did a body scan to really calm down and center myself, like a body scan from Yoga Nidra. Then I also did a chakra activation meditation as I went through it, self-guided. It was in the total blackness. It was in total silence with the exception of a couple little peripheral noises because I guess that place isn't entirely soundproof. But it was cool because it didn't really distract me because I was so deep into the meditation and everything like that. It was there, but it was more so, it had a lot of significant meaning and substance to it. And it definitely felt like there was a transition point in reintegrating or letting go of everything. And it's interesting when I look at all the synchronicities too, because while I was waiting to go in, I started reading a book. And unbeknownst to me, the next thing that I read in the book after recording the previous video was really about integrating the masculine and feminine and kind of having this alchemical wedding, like literally those words. And I wouldn't have expected it in that book. And then I went to a cemetery earlier and it was about death, and that book talked about like the death and shedding things. The business is Spiritual Phoenix Studios, so I acknowledged that whole concept before. But intuitively just ending up in a cemetery, then reading this about this death process that goes on during this integration and like shedding different versions of yourself, in addition to it being like Scorpio season, which if I remember correctly, Scorpio is related to the death card in tarot, which is about transformation and change. So there's a lot of layers to it, right? And I just feel exponentially better than I have been, and I feel a lot more centered and grounded and all of that. So anyhow, I just wanted to check back in. I'm going to go get some noodlehead, and then I might do a randonauts adventure on my way home. I'll see what happens. Thanks for checking this out. Peace.